So in this video, we will talk about what is depression. Now, clinical depression or major depressive disorder is an illness that can affect anyone. The popular image of depression is something like this. Is depression similar to sadness? Yes and no. Yes, because depression does involve feeling very low and it can start off looking a lot like sadness, but it is not sadness. Now, here's a chart to see the differences between sadness and depression. So, firstly, sadness is an emotion, whereas depression is a mental illness that is overwhelming because it affects every area of your life. Your mental, emotional, biological, physical abilities all diminish. Second, sadness is tied to an event, for example, a loss or a hurt or something else that's painful that you go through. Whereas, although depression often occurs after a big change, it can have no reason at all and feel like it came out of nowhere. Another difference is that when you're sad, you can still feel joy or laugh at times. You can still function like getting out of bed, showering, completing your tasks of the day, even if you're a bit slow at doing them. Whereas when you're going through depression, it's very common to feel nothing. It's hard to concentrate, it's hard to complete the tasks or things that you would like to do. Something that used to only take, say, an hour might now take 5 hours and it's still not done. Another difference is that while you're feeling sad, you can still reason and you can still make decisions for yourself. Whereas indecisiveness is a huge part of feeling or being depressed. There's an inability to reason, choose something. There's often what's referred to as a foggy mind by people who've been through it, despite having a feeling of restlessness and wanting to do something. Another difference is that while someone is sad, they might still reach out to their friends or family, they might still want connection with other people, but during depression, it's very common to avoid others. There's a huge feeling of loneliness, a lack of connection with anyone. Often there is no interest in the things that you used to love anymore. Next, one of the biggest differences between sadness and depression is that when you're sad, there's no change in self esteem or your self worth and how you perceive yourself. But during depression, there is unreasonable guilt, feelings of worthlessness, of being a burden to others, hopelessness, often shame that's exaggerated and quite extreme. Next, sadness can go away through self help. So you cry it out, you vent to your friends, you talk to other people, you try and make yourself happy by doing the things that you love, whether that's uh, food that you enjoy, your favorite restaurant, or going to your favorite place, and things like this to turn the tide. Whereas depression does not go away on its own, as it is an illness and it will likely worsen over time if the symptoms are ignored or not managed. So, this can lead to thoughts about death, an obsession with death, substance abuse to avoid the lows, self harm, suicidal ideation, and so on. In essence, sadness is temporary and it does fade, whereas depression is a prolonged state to be in. And there are also other symptoms such as changes in level and quality of sleep, changes in levels of energy, appetite, digestion, and so on. Having said all of that, the good news is that firstly, depression is not an invisible illness. There are physical symptoms, like I discussed before, and PET scans actually of brain activity even show the differences between what is normal activity and what is not, as you can see here. PET scans are also used to study and understand other illnesses like PTSD, but I will leave that for a future video. Secondly, depression is very treatable, and many people have been through depression and come out the other side, including celebrities, C suite executives, you name it, because human beings are human beings at the end of the day, and health issues can affect everyone. For depression, the treatment is often talk therapy and medication. The problem, of course, is that because of all the stigma around mental illness and the lack of general knowledge about mental health, it can be really hard for those that are going through depression to know what it is that's going on, and they can easily get misread or labeled by others who only see the physical symptoms that are simply an effect of the illness and not the cause of it. For example, if they're often tired or sleep a lot, they become labeled as lazy or unmotivated. If they can't perform well at school or at work, they're clearly not trying enough or lack a work ethic. If they overeat, they need to learn self control. Or if someone doesn't eat at all, they need to stop dieting. If there are attempts at self harm, people might say this is because of relationship problems or they're looking for attention. All of this pain and suffering is really unnecessary, and it's very unfortunate that it still happens. In terms of general advice, if those symptoms that I mentioned before last for more than 2 weeks, please call your doctor to make an appointment to have a chat. The other good news is that mental health is a growing field and there is a lot of work that's being done in this sector, especially now because of COVID. For example, here in Canada, the government launched Wellness Together Canada, which is a mental health and substance abuse support website to help people during COVID, and I will link it below along with a number of other sources. For more from me at the Medea Foundation, please subscribe. That's it for now. Bye.